Welcome back! Okay, let's just jump right into this beautifully complex explainer. Today, we're taking a deep dive into a classic, specifically a deeply emotional and frankly kind of mysterious Hindi adaptation of The Snow Queen. But we're not just doing a standard plot summary here. No, we're zeroing in on one very specific, totally pivotal element of the narrative, the sheer transformative magic behind Gerda's tears. I mean, on the surface, sure, it seems like a simple fairy tale, but look a little closer and it's actually this incredible exploration of trauma, isolation, and ultimately the healing power of unconditional love.
And that brings us to the core mystery we're unraveling today. Ask yourself this. When a heart literally turns to ice, what is the one magic powerful enough to melt it? Throughout the source material, you see this constant, brutal battle between ice and warmth. It's everywhere. And setting that stage is absolutely crucial for understanding why Gerda's tears aren't just, a sign of sadness. They are literally the ultimate weapon in this story.
Section 1. Heart turning to ice.
So, let's examine the sudden, truly tragic change in our central character, Kai. It's important we look at this almost clinically, right? Because the transformation is just so abrupt. Before any magic or tragedy even enters the picture, we get this beautiful baseline of warmth. Kai and Gerda are just two neighbors, deeply bonded. They share this profound love for the roses they plant in their courtyard, and they spend their days completely captivated by Kai's grandmother's stories. Actually, it's the grandmother who first warns them about the wicked Snow Queen who turns human hearts to ice. It's a setting of pure innocence, warmth, and absolute connection.
But then, out of nowhere, the incident happens. While Kai is looking out the window at the falling snow, something flies into his eye, and, even worse, pierces his heart. The contrast is immediate and honestly heartbreaking. Before the ice, he's incredibly loving, but after, he becomes cruel, literally overnight. He ignores Gerda, speaks to her with this intense arrogance, and then just abruptly leaves on his sled to play with the older boys. This sudden coldness makes him completely vulnerable, and it directly leads to his abduction. A white horse-drawn carriage appears out of the snow, pulling his sled faster and faster, straight into the snowland. And there, the Snow Queen casts a spell on him, turning him into her mindless follower.
Section 2. Gerda's long and difficult quest.
Okay, so with Kai missing, the narrative pace really kicks into high gear. Gerda flat out refuses to give up on her friend. Armed with a magic mirror gifted by the grandmother, she sets off. And wow, her journey is basically a masterclass in resilience. This isn't just some physical A to B journey, it's a massive test of her internal warmth against a cold, totally indifferent world. On day 1, she asks a seemingly empty river for help, ultimately sacrificing her precious necklace to a seagull, which actually earns her a magical boat ride. Then she gets trapped in this beautiful but completely scentless garden by a lonely woman who uses a magic comb to wipe Gerda's memory. But you know what breaks the amnesia? The sight of roses on the woman's hat. It instantly reminds her of her love for Kai. Next, she bravely confronts a pirate ship, and she earns the respect of this lonely pirate girl who gives her the absolute fastest reindeer in the snowy world. Finally, she reaches an igloo where an old man reveals the key to the whole shebang. Through every single icy obstacle, it's Gerda's unwavering warmth that pushes her through.
Section 3. The Snow Queen's Real Truth.
Now this is where the old man in the igloo forces us into a massive empathy shift. I mean, he completely flips our understanding of the villain. The Snow Queen isn't just some one-dimensional monster. We find out she was originally Leela, a deeply lonely, heavily ostracized girl. This revelation is a total game-changer. It shifts the explanation from a simple good versus evil narrative into a profound tale of trauma and healing. The Queen weaponized her pain simply because it was all she had left.
Let's look at the facts. She was born as Leela, this kind, happy girl with eyes shining like sunbeams. Literally, wherever she went, flowers bloomed. But because she was different, the townspeople falsely branded her a witch. They wouldn't even let their children play with her. And that isolation, it completely broke her. She became deeply sad, then hateful, and finally wished that everyone who treated her so terribly would just turn to ice. She built an icy, loveless castle that perfectly matched her profound loneliness. It's this incredibly tragic reminder that her own heart was frozen by the cruelty of others way before she ever froze Kai's.
Section 4. The True Magic of Tears. So we arrive at the emotional climax of our explainer. This is the absolute core of the source material. Gerda, finally, against all odds, breaches the icy castle. But the heartbreaking reality hits. Reaching Kai, physically, wasn't actually the final hurdle. She finds him mindlessly building snowmen. His heart is so completely frozen that he just stares blankly at her. He doesn't even recognize his best friend. The situation is beyond desperate. All that traveling, all those sacrifices, and he's just lost in the ice. To break a spell this deep, it's going to require a wildly powerful magical catalyst.
And here is where the text beautifully translates from the source. It says, Gerda's tears fell on Kai's hands. The love hidden in the tears showed its effect. Wow. You see, this isn't just sorrow. It is condensed, pure, unconditional love just pouring out of Gerda. And it acts as the exact, literal antithesis of the Snow Queen's cold trauma.
Let's break down this magical sequence because it is brilliantly structured. Step 1 is the physical contact. Gerda's tears literally fall onto Kai's hands. Step 2, the reaction. And this is key. It's not the water that works, it's the unconditional love acting as the ultimate antidote. It aggressively melts the metaphorical and literal ice in his heart. And then, step 3, the restoration. As the ice melts, his true memories just flood back instantly. He looks at her and says, Gerda, I recognize you. I remember everything. It definitively proves that pure warmth is the only thing capable of defeating the ice of trauma.
Section 5. Freedom found through the mirror. But wait, the story isn't quite over. The Snow Queen discovers them. She's furious that her slave is being taken away, and she prepares to strike. But how does this resolve? Well, not with violence. Notice this brilliant callback to the beginning of the story. The Snow Queen pulls out her magic wand to cast a spell on Gerda. But Gerda, she doesn't fight back with a sword or, a wand of her own. She pulls out the grandmother's gift, the mirror of truth. Remember what the old man in the igloo had warned her? Don't kill the queen, kill her evil thoughts. The mirror serves as this ultimate, impenetrable shield against the dark magic.
So the queen's magic is completely neutralized. In her frustration, she snatches the mirror to look inside, but the mirror only shows the absolute truth. She doesn't see an icy monster staring back. No, she sees her true reflection, the innocent, kind little girl named Leela. And suddenly, she transforms back. The ice shatters, but not through destruction, through realization. She actually thanks Gerda for reminding her of who she truly is, stating she is finally freed from her own evil thoughts. It's a peaceful and just incredibly moving healing resolution.
Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. If ice represents our deepest, most isolating pains, like the way Leela was bullied, or the way Kai was abruptly hardened, our unconditional love, like Gerda's tears, and undeniable truth, like the mirror, the only magic that can truly set us free, the source material leaves us with a resounding yes. It challenges us to look at the monsters around us, and perhaps even the coldness within ourselves, and ask if what's really needed isn't a fight, but just a bit of warmth and truth. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. Keep exploring, keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next one.